going to make for you now is one of the German classics. It's called Rolladan. In English it would be, I guess, translated to like beef roll-ups. Pretty much going to stick with the traditional. We're going to have mashed potatoes with the Rolladan, because the Rolladan is beef in a gravy, and the gravy is the best part of it all. We're using a fairly inexpensive cut of beef. It's the inside round, and so it's very lean. Kind of tough if you just eat it the way it is, but in the gravy, cooked for a couple hours, it's quite good. So we're going to be stuffing these beef roll-ups, you want to call them, with carrot, celery, pickles, onion, and bacon. And the other side for this, we're going to have red cabbage, a cooked red cabbage, sweet and sour with lemon juice and sugar, very traditional German as well, and a cucumber salad with dill and scallions, also with sour cream, very German meal. So we start with the bacon up in chunks, and that's what we're going to use to then fry our onions, and eventually we'll be frying our beef as well. So first we'll start with the bacon. Just the smell and the sound of bacon. It's hard to hate bacon fried. I've never actually tried this before, and probably the best time to try something new is when you're filming it for YouTube. Because if there's any mistakes, you guys are going to love it. Okay, so I've got two knives that I'm going to try, and probably think this is my best bet. It's a sushi knife. So I'm trying to get probably about 3/8 of an inch slice of beef. Then I'm going to be, well, it works pretty well. So far so good. So far so good. I like the idea of cutting it myself. This is nice and, look how nice, look at that. That's lean, man. That's nice beef. Yeah, you could use a better cut of beef for this dish, but there'd be no point really, because it's like it's a braise. It cooks long and slow, and it doesn't need to be a tender cut. Although it would be interesting trying to make it with tenderloin. Cat Lucky is salivating right now. She doesn't like cat food. She likes real people food, and she likes it raw. So I have to hide everything from her. Otherwise she'll just jump up and eat it. I've got a piece of plastic wrap on my board, and I'm going to put another one on top of that. Put like this. It's kind of, it'll be a little tougher. By pounding it out, it tenderizes it as well. So I've got my trusty tenderizer. It worked. Totally worked, just not the way I expected it to. So our next step now is, all I want to do is season the inside, and salt and pepper. Just a little bit, because we're going to dredge it in the seasoned flour. So now we're going to build these. So what we're putting in here, we're going to put in each one, we're going to put in a couple of slices of pickle, and a couple of slices of celery, and a couple of the carrot, and a little bit of the raw onion. And some people put in cooked onion. You can do that as well. But I'm gonna cook some raw onion in the bacon fat right now as well. So that'll be in with the sauce. So now we've got a cooked bacon, putting in there as well. And oh, don't let me forget, it's kind of important. We're using a little bit of Dijon as well. It just adds a little bit of a zip. So at this point, we just put it together. Roll it up like so. All rolled up. Now we've got to keep them held together, otherwise they will fall apart. So I just throw a toothpick through them, and then warn the guests that there's going to be a toothpick in them, and that try not to bite into it. But the cats have been enjoying the little bit of beef scraps. They like their carpaccio. I should say no, just lucky. They tell you. They know what's going on. There's cooking going on, there's some food going on. They want it. And smoked paprika gives it a nice little taste, and it also adds nice coloring to it. So yeah, I'm going to put the toothpick to keep them together, then I'm going to dredge them in my spiced flour mixture, which I put the smoked paprika, salt, pepper, and then we're just going to brown them. And what's going to happen then is that'll basically make our gravy, because we've got flour on here, and we're going to brown them, and that's going to leave a nice little drippings on the pan, and it'll just automatically make the gravy. You don't have to do anything. Just kind of nice. Once you do all this prep work, you don't have to do anything later, because it's one of those meals that you do all your prep then. It's a good one for company, because you're doing it now, and when it's time to eat, it's really just time to eat. You don't have to do anything at the last minute, which I know a lot of people hate cooking in the last minute, because it is a bit stressful. And if you just want to have fun, and don't really want to be the big chef about town, these kind of meals are great. Some people, I won't name any names, Jeff, but he'll eat 2 or 3. He's not here yet. I don't know if he'll ever watch this video because he doesn't have a computer, so I might be okay. So we're going to just go over and get these browned up now. I saved the fat from the bacon, which has got a lot of flavor in it. We never like to throw away bacon fat. And I'm going to actually fry these up in olive oil first, but I'm going to fry the rest of my onions in the bacon fat. I got a nice hot cast iron pan. Okay, so we don't have enough room in our pan. We'll have to do this in a couple of stages, but that's pretty typical for frying stuff up. I don't know if you can see the flour is kind of a pink color from the smoked paprika, and it's going to leave a nice, anything with paprika in it gives it a really nice color when you brown it. I like paprika on chicken as well. Roast chicken gives it a great color. So you gotta pay quite a bit of attention right now. We don't want to. Your onions are cooking in the bacon fat. This is frying up nicely here. This is really the only part of the whole cooking process that takes any kind of care and attention, really. The rest is pretty easy. Let's have a look. Yeah, start to brown up there. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Nice crust on there. So here's where the flavor comes from, the caramelization of the meat, the flour. That's where we're getting our flavors. And earlier I made a beef stock, and it's ready to go. So we had prime rib, so I used the beef bone with the prime rib. I used all the leftover vegetables, fennel, carrots, celery, onion, put it all in there with my beef bone. That really tastes good just on its own. So that's what we're going to use for our gravy. You'll see in a minute. Once I get this all browned up, then I'm going to transfer these into my onions. Cover it up with the stock. Soaks up quite a bit of the oil. That's what's making a roux right now. That's the beauty of it. The gravy is being made because we've got flour and oil, and that's basically what a gravy starts with. Onions are starting to get translucent. What we want. A little bit of salt and pepper on those onions. There we go. Right. I like to season every stage of what I cook, because I know there's salt and pepper in here, but you want it in here too. You want it everywhere, basically. There's not a lot of seasoning goes in here, really. We're depending on the flavor of the meat. So sometimes they kind of fall apart a bit. You need an extra toothpick. Brown all sides. Best I can. So, some were pretty good. Okay, so now I'm just putting them into here. My onions. going to be so good. You'd like to use about 350 is probably about right. Not too hot because you don't want to evaporate the gravy too quickly. Because this stock is already really reduced. It's started off with quite a bit more. A little bit of bacon fat left in here. I'm just going to throw a little bit more of this flour in there. Otherwise our gravy's going to have, you know, the gravy gets those little oil spots. So this will help alleviate that. There we go. A little bit of red wine. Into the pan. Now we're going to add our stock. Bubbling away, ready to go in the oven. So I just want to cover. So we just got those covered up nicely. That goes into the oven. About an hour and a half. I'm going to cover it up. It evaporates less if it's covered. Okay. Into the oven, like I said, 350. About an hour and a half. So that gives me a bit of time. I've got my potatoes ready to go. I still have to put garlic in there. The next thing we're going to do is our cabbage, and this is fairly simple. All we're going to do is cook this slowly, and then a little later on we're going to add some sugar and lemon juice, and you basically get sweet and sour cabbage. Chunk of butter like that, it's about right. I mean, you can add onion to this too. A lot of people do. A lot of people make it with bacon first, and it just cooks fairly slowly for about almost an hour and a half, really, about the same time it takes for the rouladen. That's why it kind of goes well with it. Just have to watch that every once in a while, make sure it's not burning, but I keep it on fairly low. There we go, mashed potatoes. Simple. That rouladen's coming out in about 2 seconds, and we're eating. We've got our potatoes ready to go. I'll turn them on an hour before our meal's ready, and let's go make the salad now. It's pretty simple. It's got a little bit of white sugar, lemon juice, sour cream, and I'm putting in some scallion and dill. They're not necessary. You could do it without it. Just I happen to have some dill left over from the vegetable plate I made, and sour cream and dill and cucumber go really well together, so that's cool. Kind of big, and I cut a little bit of the skin off too. I could take a few swaths off, so that you get the variation of the dark green and then the white of the cucumber. It's all a little bit of looks involved, right? Doesn't hurt to make it look a little bit fancier. Get some lemon juice in with the sugar. I just do by eye. I don't really have a certain. You just kind of, I don't know. That's 1, 2, probably 2 and a bit tablespoons. Pretty close. And that just whips up. The cucumber. Oh, I'm going to be putting salt in here too. But I'm not going to put the salt in until later, because if I do, it's going to take all the juice out of the cucumber and make this dressing really runny. And we don't like it when it's really runny. So there we go. That's it for that for now. Throw that in. Chop up our dill. I just turn it into a little ball. And then it slices up pretty fine. Dill's a nice fresh taste, because we don't really have any herbs in this meal. I probably could add thyme or rosemary or something to that beef, but it's not really traditional. And isn't that beautiful? I didn't want to add the salt earlier because it would draw out all the moisture, so now we're adding the salt now. Okay, that's ready to go. I think we should relax and wait for the guests to arrive. This is the final product here. We've got rouladen, red cabbage, potatoes.